When I was critical of Kevin's leadership, I'm just an ethically challenged congressman. But then when Victoria Spartz, a congresswoman from Indiana, came forward and said, no, I too agree with Matt Gaetz that it's Kevin McCarthy who failed us. Well, then he said, well, she's just a quitter. Now, this is a woman who said that she was going to be returning to her family because they needed her, and Kevin called her a quitter. Meanwhile, when a man in Congress actually left in the middle of his term, Chris Stewart, Kevin McCarthy didn't call him a quitter. So he's been reckless and unhinged and rattled and misogynist in how he's attacked those who are making a substantive argument.
You ready for the biggest joke? Republicans talking about misogyny, and they say that it's a problem. Specifically here, Matt Gaetz talking about Kevin McCarthy and his response to one woman, that is Victoria Sparks in Congress, Representative Victoria Sparks. It's misogynist because he said, well, I guess she's a quitter. Let's go to some details of how this happened, because I think he's still looking for another angle to attack McCarthy from. Problem is, he's talking to conservatives and they don't give a damn about misogyny. But here, unfortunately, this was the statement about McCarthy from Victoria Sparks. She says, unfortunately, real leadership takes courage and willingness to fight for the country, not for power and a picture on a wall. It's a shame that our weak speaker cannot even commit to having a commission to discuss our looming fiscal catastrophe. Our founding fathers would be rolling over in their graves to see how this institution is betraying our republic for personal political ambitions. I'll say that part again, for personal political ambitions. This is a Republican talking. And our children will be ashamed of another worthless Congress. It's kind of the norm now. McCarthy attacked her over not seeking re-election, as Gaetz was talking about there, calling her a quitter, is what he said to Manu Raju from CNN. One thing I learned in life: anybody who criticizes you has never worked harder than you. If Victoria is concerned about fighting stronger, I wish she would run again and not quit. I mean, I'm not quitting. I'm going to continue work for the American public. And that's what then Matt Gaetz was then talking about, and he said it's a disgraceful quote, and then he continued those same lines about the fact that it's misogynistic, and he's coming for a woman. He wouldn't do this to a man. You can have that perspective, and it could even make sense. I just wonder how much he thinks that's going to stick with people who listen to what is that he's saying. Victoria Sparks again just jumped on to graphic 4. Says, I wish Speaker McCarthy would work as hard at governing our country as he does at collecting checks, but his wish might come true. I do need to regroup to win the war, but considering the significance of this battle, maybe I should win it first. Thanks, Matt Gaetz, for stepping up. So looks like he's collecting all the folks next to him to help him out, to at least build this coalition against Kevin McCarthy. And maybe that's what he's waiting for before he files this paperwork to go ahead and have him ousted. But it's building. There's one more, but I want your thoughts on Spartz and whether or not the misogyny claim will work.
Well, I really enjoy the deep twisted irony of Matt Gaetz sitting there with Eric Bolling talking about misogyny. And for anyone who needs any context into their backgrounds, just Google Eric Bolling allegations or Matt Gaetz allegations. I promise you plenty of things will come up for both of them. I don't know if it's misogyny or not. Maybe it's inappropriate. If she did attack him, maybe, she's having personal reasons for stepping down. Maybe it's an inappropriate thing to do. I don't know if it's misogyny, but I definitely don't need Matt Gaetz, sex trafficker, to tell me or to tell anyone what is and what is not misogyny.
He's working on it, and maybe it'll work to a degree, but either way, it's shots fired. One more shot that's getting fired. Maybe this is a little bit more of a, I guess, it supplements Matt Gaetz' position, because it's not the Matt Gaetz, Marjorie Taylor Greenes, and Lauren Boeberts and Chip Roys of the world. It's someone else that's also coming from Kevin McCarthy. She's frustrated too. Watch that.
Matt Gaetz of Florida, your colleague, has suggested that he may introduce a motion to vacate the chair over all of this. You were asked about it on the weekend. You wouldn't say whether or not you would support such a motion, but you did say everything's on the table. So let me ask you, 2 days later, is this the sort of thing that you would support?
Well, for me, everything is on the table with regards to any motions or any votes that we have over the next week or two. Several members up here were made promises. Those promises were not kept. I'm not the only frustrated member of Congress up here.
Are you happy with the job that Speaker McCarthy is doing?
I would say, I would put me in the column of being very frustrated. I don't like feeling like I was misled or lied to on particular pieces of legislation.
So there you have Nancy. I'm blanking her name. Nancy Mace. There talking about it, and we've seen her find herself somewhat a little further to the left than many other Republicans, specifically when it comes to women's rights, their reproduction rights. So she carries a little bit of weight when it comes to someone outside of the complete MAGA wing. But let's not forget, she was standing outside of Trump Tower begging him for forgiveness, though, just in case. Is Nancy Mace helping this out? Is he on his way out even further? I honestly, I don't think he's going anywhere, but it's just going to be even messier if he doesn't go anywhere.
One thing
I'm
for
sorry.
sure,
I don't know if you have thoughts. If you don't have thoughts on Mace, that's cool because we can jump out of this, but it's cool.
I was just gonna say one thing is for sure, and that's that he has no control over the Republicans in Congress. He has whatever semblance of control he had over them has completely disappeared. I mean, you have people who should be your political allies bashing you all over, cable news. It's not a good look for him. I don't think that he will be ousted. I think that eventually the pressure might be such that he has to step down. I don't think that the motion to vacate I don't think that they'd have the votes, but I think that if it continues on this way, there might be some pressure on him to remove himself from that position. But do Republicans ever voluntarily take power away from themselves? I've yet to see it. It would be a first.
True, absolutely. He's not. I mean, maybe he's dealing with some sleepless nights, but he's definitely worried about what he's gonna do going forward because his name will forever be stamped on this after all of the rest of the historic things that he's been dealing with negatively. Let's take this first break. We'll have a few of your thoughts on the battles that are going on with Republicans. I'm curious what you guys think about how this will all shake down and who's actually winning in this. Who's even close to being right? I'm actually curious because there's not many good points amongst any of them. They're all fighting a bad fight to destroy the country. They're just coming in with different angles.
Check out the Damage Report podcast each day, wherever you get your podcasts, whether Pocket Casts or Stitcher or iTunes. You can join me as I give you the news and stories you want with a range of co-hosts and interview guests jumping in on the fun each day. Again, that's the Damage Report, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you get them at iTunes, don't forget to rate and review. Sometimes I'll read them live on the show.